Bruce Lee's JKD Jeet Kune stance. Now today, Sifu here, because we're going to teach you how the JKD stance is a little bit different from other martial arts stance and why we stand a certain way and how it gives us mobility and explosive power. So Sifu, maybe explain to us about the JKD stance.
So when you first start, it's basically keeping both knees slightly bent, okay? And you imagine there's a line in the middle. If you can't imagine, just draw it out and making sure.
Here to here, right?
Yeah. And what you want that to kind of parallel to is the other foot, because if you have this foot here and this one here, it's not how you're going to sprint forward. You want to almost act like you're a sprinter, right? You're ready to engage.
We're ready to.
Yeah, you're ready to do that because then it engages that spring. Now, this foot ends up shifting based upon what kind of tools you're using and how much power you're using out of the hips. But for now, just so we can get the basis here, is that its centered gravity is here. It's the best mobile position for you to utilize your kicks and your punches. Be able to slip and hit at the same time or use other tools as necessary. But this is the basic
And see, how wide should it be for like a beginner?
So depending on your shoulder width, so if your width is this far out, if your shoulders are that far, then you're gonna have to probably stand about here to go forward.
So about shoulder width.
Yeah, yeah, about shoulder width. But the whole idea is to keep this knee in so it protects your groin, right? And then you keep your hands in this position. Now, you don't want this hand to collapse against your body because you lose what's called the spring for your arm. If you keep it here, better believe that you're open here the whole time. You want this to be here. This is your defense in front of you.
So it's kind of like a
Right.
fist.
Yeah, maybe about this much away from your rib cage. So you're about here. Okay, so that way you can engage as necessary. But at the same time, if something collapses against you, it's pressing on a spring. You can use that against somebody, okay? If you're here, you don't have anything. So that's why both of these hands are up in this position. Now, you don't want this out too far either.
If I grab.
Yeah, see, this is just too wide. About here is fine because you're just not gonna be static as you're moving. You gotta be moving your hands around, okay? You can't just sit here and be robotic and expect it to work. There's just no way, okay? Now, again, this is the best position. So again, if you're here, it's too wide.
We lose the mobility.
Yeah, you lose the mobility. If you're here, you're in a cat stance. It's a little different. But the mobility is here with distance. Once you engage your opponent, let's say for instance, I'll use you for an example. Face me for a second, Drake. And Drake is fantastic. He's one of our finest students under Dan. And then
Not fine students, please.
Drake would give a good example, someone who's a beginner, to see some of the maybe the common mistakes people make, and we can correct him so he can learn from that as well.
So as I train Drake here, he's making sure that his knees are slightly bent, his hands are up, and you want to stay relaxed. Yeah, relax. And then so you want your heel to be raised a little bit from behind. There you go.
So Sifu, why is it important to raise the heel?
Well, it helps launch your attacks easier. So whether it's your kicks or your hands, you're able to move much faster to your opponent. Here you lose the spring, so you're having to bounce to get to somebody. Here you can just simply use that to forward, your attack. So whether it's your punch or your kick. So if I was here and I engage my opponent with that same footwork, I'm usually gonna restructure the hip so I can utilize this or this, okay? If I came in colliding here and still my structure or my center is facing that way, it's terrible for me. Okay? Because if this guy has a good center of gravity, he's gonna go against me. So I know for a fact, if I hit and I come in, now I got all my tools ready to go, especially controlling
the knees and the legs. So from a distance, we can be a little bit more sideways because we engage with the lead hand and lead leg. But when we get a bit closer, our weapon should be a little bit more square.
Well, if your rear hand is about to come in, yes, I would suggest that. Because if not, if you're here, that's incorrect.
So that almost becomes a little bit more Wing Chun, in other words.
It just modifies to, I would say a modification of it because you're springing forward, see, and your back heel is going towards him. Now, in case he gives me a little bit of pressure, I'm gonna flatten my foot, okay, because then it solidifies. But at the same time, I'm gonna come back and collide, just depending on where my foot is.
It's like a spring,
Right.
Like boom, 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 like that.
It's very pliable, you can't look at it from one way. It's, you're always meeting a curved line or you're meeting a straight line. And you got to learn how to be very flexible with that.
What about in terms of center of gravity? When is it 50-50, is it 40, like 60?
Just to keep everything simple in line, because people go back to history books thinking that history is the truth. Really, it's your proper body mechanics. I would say 50-50. 60 and 40 and 30 or whatever you want to consider what that may be. It depends on the circumstance. Based off the pressure somebody else is giving you, or an attack, your weight distribution shifts all the time, but I would start out at 50-50.
50-50. And then for them, how is someone, if they're practicing, let's say watching this at home or in the dojo, that how could they tell if they're doing it correctly?
I would get in front of the mirror. The mirror is the best tool for yourself, just to just see if your mechanics are there, your hands are up. You don't want this hand too low, you don't want this too high. You would just want it about right here. And if you're throwing these punches at targets, then it should feel natural.
So maybe Drake, you can give it a try and see if we can correct you and see just facing the camera how that would look. So I guess this is a bit too low, right?
That would be a little bit too low. And again, you want to just stay a little bit relaxed, okay? And relax here, good. Okay, now there you go. Now, bring this foot over a little bit to your left. There you go. How does that feel to you compared to how you were feeling it?
I feel pretty natural.
Is this better for you?
Yes.
Okay, so you find a medium of where you need to be, because if you're still in one line, let's say you were here, you're gonna be off balance. Okay, you wanna be able to stabilize yourself.
Gotta shift the weight just a little bit to find that, right?
Right. Now let's just take one example, just so you know what I'm talking about. Flatten that foot behind you, and then put this foot in front of you, right here. Now straighten the foot this way. Okay. Now, how do you feel there?
I feel that's less stable.
Yeah, because if I push you, see what happens?
Yes.
So the whole idea is to find the foundation in your base. Put your left foot out again where you were originally. Good. And then I'm going to push you a little bit. It's a little bit better and stable. But because we don't have 4 legs, we're going to find the weak point no matter what. And that's why shifting and scissoring your legs at all times, just to avoid that, is the best thing to do. But yeah, this is the best optimal position for training.
This is a good starting point. They can practice and balance. They can even go up and down a bit just
Right.
to feel the energy.
Leveling, right. But for a beginner, just maintain, again, the hand structure. Okay, this is covering the center, right? Keeping your elbows in.
That's important.
Yeah, if this is too wide, and I don't know if the camera can see, this is open shot, right? But if his, there you go, his elbows are slightly in, he could either deflect it or hit back. If I try to hit there, he can hit right back and slide up against my own arm if I try to hit him there, because it's already covering that. There are a lot of things involved in this stance alone. We can sit here and speak for days about how to utilize this stance.
Yeah. So when you're practicing, just focus on make sure cover center line, mobility, your balance, center of gravity, and relaxation. You got to be relaxed, because when you're tense, you can't feel anything, right?
The last thing I wanted to mention is that chin should be a little low. So you want to be able to utilize this shoulder and protect yourself in between that shoulder, that clavicle point here, and keep it down. Because if a good guy that does a hook here, he's going to end up knocking you out if that chin is not down. So never train this way. It's always down.
What about Sifu in terms of focus? The stance, if we're facing the opponent, where should they look?
For me, I actually like looking at the center of the body. Then I can see clarity. Because if I look at your eyes, then I lose vision here at the legs. If I look here, then I can see the whole body move. That's it. Yeah, it has to do with peripheral. If your peripheral is not well, then you might have to focus somewhere else.
So there you go, that's the JKD stance. I remember when I first learned this from Ted Wong, it took me like 6 months just to get used to it, because it's so unnatural. It's not, so it looks easier now, but in the beginning it's actually very unnatural. And I think Bruce took some of the concepts from fencing, right?
Yes.
To be able to move. So think about, you gotta play around with it and practice and move around until you feel, it shouldn't feel stiff. If you feel very stiff, you're doing something wrong. So comment below, let us know when you practice this stance, what questions do you have? Comment below, give us a thumbs up, and also if this is the first time you're watching our video, make sure you hit the subscribe button because we're releasing a new video every single week. Every single week, this is a brand new series on JKD. And check out all the JKD videos on the right side as well. Until next time, be one of my friends.